Welcome back to the Awesome Agents podcast. Today we are covering a story that is honestly one of the hardest we have had to talk about.
Yeah, this one is not about benchmarks or model releases. This is about real people, real lives lost, and a decision that is going to define how we think about AI safety for years.
So here is what happened. Back in June 2025, OpenAI's automated monitoring systems flagged a ChatGPT account. The user had been describing gun violence scenarios over several days.
And this was not a quiet flag that got lost in some queue. About a dozen OpenAI employees reviewed the conversations. Some of them went to leadership and said, "We need to call the police."
And leadership said no.
They said no, they banned the account for policy violations, but they determined it did not meet their internal threshold for contacting law enforcement.
8 months later, that user carried out the deadliest school shooting in Canadian history. 8 people killed in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia.
And this is what makes the case so devastating. It is not a story about a system failing to detect something. The system worked. The humans reviewed it and reached the right conclusion. And then the company overruled them.
So, what was OpenAI's justification for not escalating?
They said the content did not demonstrate credible or imminent planning. Their policy requires an imminent and credible risk of serious physical harm before they contact police.
Okay, but their own systems flagged it for, and I am quoting here, furtherance of violent activities. That sounds pretty credible to me.
Right. And their own employees thought it was credible enough to recommend a police referral. So you have the AI flagging it, humans confirming it, and leadership still saying no. That is not a detection problem. That is a decision problem.
OpenAI also made a privacy argument. They said being too liberal with police referrals can create unintended harm. What do you make of that?
Look, that is a real concern in general. Overreporting can lead to swatting, to police escalation against people in mental health crises. But there is a massive contradiction here. OpenAI monitors every single conversation. They have automated surveillance that flags content and routes it to human reviewers. You cannot claim privacy as a reason not to act when you have already built the surveillance infrastructure that detected the threat.
Sam Altman himself said last year that ChatGPT conversations have no legal confidentiality protections.
Exactly. He told TechCrunch that if there is a lawsuit, OpenAI could be required to produce those conversations. So you are telling users there is no confidentiality, while simultaneously telling your safety team that privacy prevents you from warning police about a potential mass shooter. Those two positions cannot coexist.
And this was not the only warning sign about this individual, right?
No, she had created a mass shooting simulator on Roblox. She had an account on a gore video forum that other mass shooters have used. There were social media posts about severe mental health struggles, but OpenAI was arguably in the strongest position to act because they had the explicit detection and the human review recommending escalation.
There is also this detail about what happened after the shooting that I find really telling.
The meeting with British Columbia officials?
Yeah, the day after the shooting, OpenAI had a pre scheduled meeting with BC government officials about opening a Canadian office. They did not mention that they had flagged and banned the shooter's account. It was not until the next day that they reached out to police.
That sequence of events says a lot about priorities. You have a business development meeting the day after a mass shooting connected to your platform, and you do not disclose what you knew.
This also fits into a broader pattern at OpenAI, right? The safety team departures, the disbanded teams.
It does. Since May 2024, OpenAI has disbanded the Super Alignment Team, the AGI Readiness Team, and just last month, the Mission Alignment Team. Multiple safety researchers have left, citing commercial pressures overriding safety. Jan Leike resigned, saying safety had taken a backseat to, quote, shiny products. The employees who wanted to warn police about this case were overruled by the same leadership culture that keeps driving safety people out.
And Tumbler Ridge is not an isolated incident when it comes to AI chatbots and harm.
Not at all. There is a growing list. Teenagers dying by suicide after interactions with character AI and ChatGPT. A man in Connecticut who murdered his mother after hundreds of hours of ChatGPT use that allegedly fueled paranoid delusions. In November 2025 alone, 7 separate wrongful death lawsuits were filed against OpenAI.
So what needs to change here? What does accountability actually look like?
I think the core issue is that right now, AI companies are making these life and death judgment calls with zero external oversight. They set their own thresholds, they evaluate their own flags, and they answer to no one when they get it wrong. Canada is already responding. BC's premier called it profoundly disturbing, and the federal AI minister is reviewing new measures. But we need actual regulatory frameworks, not just company policies that leadership can override.
The question that keeps coming back to me is, if this did not meet OpenAI's threshold, what would?
That is the question nobody at OpenAI wants to answer. And honestly, I think it is because they know the honest answer would be damning.
This is a story we are going to keep following closely. If you want the full details, the article is on awesomeagents.ai. Thanks for listening, everyone. We will see you next time.
Hey, take care, everyone.